All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to design the podcast page. So what I want to do is I'm going to copy the home.psd file. So let's right click and I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to right click and hit paste. And then we're going to right click and rename this podcast. Okay. Then what I want to do is double click on this. And you can see that this is the content that we had from the previous video when we fixed that. So I'll close that one out. Let's do file and then open. And we're going to open up our source file for the podcast. Okay. Now, the one thing about this, I want to touch this up real quick. So let's use the marquee tool. And we're going to touch up our content so we can bring it over. In fact, let me use the letter I for the keyboard shortcut, and then G to grab the bucket and then fill in that paint. All right. So now that we got that, okay, this is very weird. This is Creative Cloud 2020, which should be there, and this should be down there. So we're going to do a little Photoshopping here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this text with the marquee tool. So hit the letter M on your keyboard and then hit Control C, Control X, and then Control V. And we're going to bring that down to about here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is go back to the source and do the same thing. We're going to grab the marquee tool again right here. I'm going to highlight the Creative Cloud 2020, hit Control C, Control X, Control V. And then I'll paste it right here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the bucket tool and I'm going to fill in the transparent lines without decorating the other content. Okay. Now hit V for me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the marquee tool again, which you can see this is my favorite tool. Control C, Control X, and let's Control Z to undo that. Because what I want to do is I want to merge the Learn Creative Cloud title with the source so that it's together. Okay, so we're going to merge the layers. Okay, and now when I do Control C, Control X, it'll take everything out. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and we're going to paste it. So Control V to paste. Okay, and we'll call this Creative Cloud 2020. And then we'll hide the layer. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Photoshop 2020 and I'm going to put this right above the graphic there. And then I'm going to fill in the background again with the paint bucket. I'm going to use the marquee tool again, and I'm going to highlight everything, hit Control C, Control X. And again, I did the wrong thing, but I did it on purpose to show you that what you need to do is you need to merge the layers. Okay. So now I'm going to use the marquee tool to grab the content, Control C, Control X. We'll bring it into the podcast.psd, and then we're going to label this Photoshop 2020. Okay. Now what we can do is we can edit the content behind us, behind the layers here. And we're just going to white this out. So we're going to give the background color. The background color basically is going to be white, or we could just turn the layer off too. Okay. So just like that. And then what we're going to do is make a new layer and we're going to call this background. And then we'll use this same white color and just grab the paint bucket with G and then paste that in. And then I'm going to display Photoshop 2020. Okay, so that'll be about right here. And then Creative Cloud, we can move that down a little bit. And actually, I think they're reversed. They are reversed. So there we go. I'll give them plenty of space. Now you can see that Creative Cloud is not centered. Now it is. And then the last thing we need to grab is the page name. So I'm going to grab the marquee tool again, and we're going to go right from the top of podcast, hit Control C, Control X, and then paste it in here, drag that sucker up here, and now we have almost done a podcast page. What happened to my, oh, okay. So when I filled in the background, what I accidentally did was, okay, I didn't grab the background layer. I grabbed the podcast layer. Okay, grab the background layer for me. And what we want to do is we want to bring this layer up to the top of the footer. So that way we can actually see the footer. Just saying. Okay, so now what I want to do is we're going to grab all the layers. So select layer 3, hold shift and select layer 2, right click and merge layers. Okay. And then delete layer 2. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab the marquee tool and we're going to delete some space here. And then I'm going to grab the marquee tool again. We're going to highlight from the top of the footer where that white space is, which I did on purpose so we can merge them together. I'm going to hit Control C, Control X, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up here and we're going to blend it with the content. Okay, so let me go up one hair there and then one over. And then when I hit C for the crop tool, we just crop this up. And if I zoom in, there we go. If I zoom in, I have a little bit of pixelation here. I don't know why that's doing that. So what I'm going to do is hit Control T, and we're going to just drag it a little bit to the right. Hold Shift to keep it, the aspect ratio correct. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up till I see a little transparency there, and then we'll drop it down. And there you go. So we'll save that. And now we have the podcast page. Okay. So now we have a responsive podcast page. And again, the idea behind this is you're just grabbing the content that you had from the desktop version. Because when you design this stuff, you would have a desktop version designed, unless you're doing just a mobile site, then I'm wrong. But in most cases, you would have the content already in place, and then you would just design it from there and lay everything out, and then give it to your developer, or if you're the developer, then you'd go and code it. And you'd use media queries. So with that in mind, I'll see you in the next video where we're going to build out the blog page. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.